Most men don't realize this, but the very same arteries that carry blood to your heart also feed your manhood. When those tiny vessels begin to clog or stiffen after 60, it doesn't just affect your heart, it slowly strangles your vitality, your energy, and your intimacy. The truth is, no pill in the world can fix that if your blood can't move freely where it needs to. But the surprising solution might be hiding right in your kitchen, inside the food you already eat every morning. I'm Dr. Mohit Khera, a urologist and men's health specialist with over 30 years of experience helping men restore their strength, stamina, and confidence naturally. I've spent my career studying how small daily habits, especially what you eat for breakfast, can completely change how your body performs, both in your heart and in your bedroom. Here's the paradox. Most men think losing circulation and intimacy is just a normal part of getting older. It's not. In reality, your arteries can heal, your blood flow can improve, and your performance can return if you feed your body the right nutrients. That's why today's message might surprise you. Because in this video, you're going to discover one powerful natural ingredient that can unclog your arteries, increase blood flow to your most vital areas, and help you feel stronger and more connected than you have in years. It's simple, safe, and backed by real science. So stay with me until the end, because I'll show you exactly how to add this ingredient to your morning oatmeal to restore your circulation, revive your energy, and bring back the intimacy you thought was gone forever. Before we get started, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell, so you never miss another health tip designed to keep your heart strong and your intimacy alive after 60. And I'd love to hear from you. If you find this video helpful, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0 and tell me how I can make future videos even more useful for you. Alright, let's get started. Before we talk about the ingredient itself, you need to understand why circulation naturally declines after 60, and how that one change quietly affects your energy, your focus, and even your performance in the bedroom. Because once you know the cause, the solution becomes simple. Section 1. The real reason. Circulation declines after 60. When men reach their 60s, something subtle but powerful begins to change inside the body. You may not notice it at first. Maybe your hands and feet feel colder than they used to. Maybe your morning energy isn't as strong, or your stamina fades faster during a walk, or even in moments of intimacy. Most men chalk this up to getting older, but in truth, what's happening runs much deeper. Inside every artery, every capillary, there's a delicate lining called the endothelium. It's what keeps your blood flowing smoothly. Over the years, however, this lining starts to take damage from the foods we eat, the stress we carry, and the blood sugar spikes that come with time. Bit by bit, inflammation builds up, and tiny cholesterol particles begin to stick to the walls. It's a slow, quiet process, like rust forming inside a water pipe. At first, you don't feel much, but as those vessels stiffen, blood has to push harder to move through. That pressure wears down the arteries even more, creating a cycle of tension and fatigue. For many men, the first signs show up not in the chest, but in the bedroom. The arteries that carry blood to the penis are among the smallest in the entire body. When circulation weakens, that's where you feel it first. That's why, as a urologist, I often tell my patients that a weaker erection is not just a sexual concern, it's the body's early warning sign that blood flow is struggling everywhere. Now, here's the hopeful part. Your arteries are not lifeless tubes. They're living tissue, capable of healing and renewal. Every day, your body produces nitric oxide, a natural compound that helps those arteries relax and open up. But after 60, your nitric oxide levels drop dramatically. Less nitric oxide means tighter, stiffer vessels and less blood flow to your heart, your brain, and your manhood. The beauty of this, however, is that your body can be coaxed to produce more of it through nutrition. When you feed your arteries the right compounds, you can revive your natural ability to circulate blood freely again. I've seen it firsthand. I've watched men in their 70s regain energy, confidence, and passion simply by understanding this process and giving their bodies what they need to recover. Age isn't the enemy, neglect is. Once you start caring for your arteries, everything else begins to improve. Your focus, your strength. teeth, even your mood. And this brings us to the exciting part. There's one simple ingredient, something most people already have in their pantry, that can help jumpstart this healing process from the inside out. It's a food so powerful that it can literally teach your arteries how to open again. Let's talk about that next. Section 2. Why oatmeal is the perfect foundation. When I meet men in their 60s who are serious about rebuilding their circulation, I always start with something simple: oatmeal. I know it might sound too ordinary to matter, but believe me, this humble breakfast has a quiet power. It's not flashy or complicated, but it gives your body exactly what it needs to begin cleaning out the arteries that have grown stiff over the years. I've seen this countless times in my clinic. Men who used to skip breakfast or grab a quick pastry start eating a warm bowl of oats each morning. And within weeks, they tell me their energy feels smoother, their digestion calmer, and their mind more focused. That's not coincidence. That's circulation coming back to life. Oatmeal is rich in a special type of fiber called beta-glucan. Think of it like a gentle broom that moves through your digestive tract, binding with cholesterol and carrying it out of your body before it can settle inside your arteries. It's one of nature's simplest yet most effective tools for protecting your heart. And it does something else that most men overlook. It steadies your blood sugar. After 60, your body doesn't process sugar as efficiently as it once did. Those spikes after breakfast can quietly damage the inner lining of your arteries, making them rough and sticky. Oatmeal smooths that roller coaster, keeping your blood sugar balanced and your vessels calm. When your morning starts steady, your whole day feels different. You're not crashing mid-morning, your mood stays level, and your heart isn't under unnecessary strain. I often tell my patients that oatmeal is more than just food. It's a small act of self-respect. It says, I care enough to give my body what it deserves. And the beauty of it is that oatmeal welcomes company. You can build on it, personalize it, and turn it into something truly healing. But here's where most men miss the mark. While oatmeal is an excellent foundation, it's not strong enough on its own to reverse decades of damage. It needs help. It needs the support of nutrients that actively repair blood vessels, calm inflammation, and boost nitric oxide levels naturally. That's when your breakfast transforms from simple to powerful, from just a meal to medicine. So if you've been eating plain oats every morning, you're halfway there. The next step is to add one extraordinary ingredient, something proven to revive blood flow, restore flexibility to your arteries, and even awaken the kind of vitality you thought belonged to your younger years. Let's talk about that ingredient next. Section 3. The one ingredient that can unclog your arteries and revive your circulation. Walnuts. When I first tell my patients that the secret to better blood flow, stronger energy, and even deeper intimacy might come from a handful of walnuts, most of them smile politely, thinking I'm exaggerating. But then I explain what really happens inside the body when this small food becomes a daily habit, and their smiles turn into understanding. You see, walnuts are far more than a snack. They're a remarkable, living source of nourishment, one that directly speaks to the aging arteries of a man over 60. Inside every walnut is a blend of nutrients that nature seems to have designed specifically for circulation. They're rich in omega-3 fatty acids, the kind that help lower bad cholesterol and keep your blood flowing smoothly. They're packed with antioxidants that protect the delicate lining of your arteries from years of wear and tear. And perhaps most importantly, they contain an amino acid called L-arginine, which your body converts into nitric oxide, the very compound that tells your blood vessels to relax, open up, and carry oxygen freely to every cell in your body. When nitric oxide levels are high, your arteries behave like they did decades ago, flexible, responsive, and strong. But when those levels drop, your blood vessels tighten, pressure builds, and flow becomes restricted. That's when you start noticing the changes, the fatigue, the colder extremities, the slower recovery, and yes, the weaker erections. It's not about aging, it's about blocked communication within your blood vessels. Walnuts help restore that conversation. I remember one gentleman in his late 60s who came to see me about his declining energy and intimacy. He had tried supplements, medications, even energy drinks, but nothing worked long-term. I asked him to make one simple change: Eat 5 walnut halves every morning with his oatmeal. 6 weeks later, he returned with a quiet smile and said, "Doctor, my hands are warm again. My mornings feel alive. My wife noticed before I did, that's the difference circulation makes." What I love about walnuts is that they work gently but deeply. You don't feel a sudden rush. You feel a gradual return of balance. Your heart beats easier, your thinking feels clearer, and your confidence begins to rebuild. These little shells carry more than nutrition. They carry renewal. So now that you understand how walnuts can open your arteries and restore natural blood flow, let's talk about what happens next inside your body once you start eating them every single day, because that's where the real transformation begins. Section 4. What happens inside your body when you eat walnuts daily? When you begin adding walnuts to your oatmeal every morning, you're not just eating food. You're starting a quiet transformation that happens deep within your arteries. It doesn't happen overnight, but with every bite, something powerful begins to shift. I've watched it unfold in patient after patient. Men who once felt sluggish, cold, and disconnected suddenly rediscover warmth in their hands, steadiness in their hearts, and a renewed spark in their mornings. That's the kind of change that doesn't come from a prescription bottle. It comes from feeding your body what it truly needs to heal. Once walnuts enter your system, the first thing they do is begin relaxing your arteries. The amino acid L-arginine in these nuts is converted into nitric oxide, the molecule that signals your blood vessels to open. It's almost like flipping a switch inside your body, telling your circulation it's time to move freely again. That increased blood flow doesn't just nourish your heart. It travels to your brain, your muscles, and yes, to the most intimate areas of your body that depend on strong circulation to function properly. Next, the omega-3 fatty acids get to work, lowering the sticky LDL cholesterol that tends to cling to artery walls while raising the healthy HDL cholesterol that sweeps the bad stuff away. Over time, this subtle process starts to clear space inside your arteries, making it easier for blood to travel without resistance. And then there are the antioxidants, polyphenols that guard your blood vessels from inflammation and oxidative stress, the two biggest culprits behind vascular aging. You can think of them as gentle protectors, standing guard over your arteries so that every heartbeat delivers life where it's needed most. After a few weeks, men often begin to notice the difference in small but unmistakable ways. They feel lighter during the day, more focused, less winded on walks, and often more alive in moments of closeness. Those aren't coincidences. They're signs that your inner system is finally breathing again. Your body begins to trust the flow, to remember how it felt years ago when everything worked in harmony. And what fascinates me most as a doctor is how simple it all is. No complex regimen, no expensive supplement, just real, whole food doing exactly what nature designed it to do. The longer you stay consistent, the deeper those benefits go, restoring health at the very foundation of your body. But there's one part of this story that men rarely talk about: the intimate connection between circulation and desire, between a healthy heart and a strong relationship. Once you understand that link, everything about vitality after 60 starts to make sense. Let's explore that next. Section 5. The connection between circulation and intimacy. Let's talk about something most men hesitate to discuss: the connection between blood flow and intimacy. I've spent decades listening to men quietly share their frustrations about losing their spark, their stamina, or their confidence in the bedroom. They often whisper about it, as if it's something to be ashamed of. But I always tell them the same thing. This isn't about age, it's about circulation. Your body is simply trying to tell you that it's struggling to deliver the life force, blood, where it needs to go. An erection is not magic, it's pure physiology. It depends on healthy arteries, steady blood pressure, and flexible vessels that can open wide enough to fill the chambers of the penis with blood. When those arteries become stiff or narrow, it doesn't matter how much desire you feel. Your body simply can't respond the same way it used to. That's why many men in their 60s and 70s start noticing weaker or less reliable erections long before any sign of heart disease appears. It's not a coincidence. The arteries supplying the penis are some of the smallest in your body. If your circulation is poor there, it's almost certainly struggling everywhere else too. But the beautiful part is this: when you repair your blood flow, intimacy often returns on its own. The same habits that protect your heart also restore your sexual health. When you feed your arteries with the nutrients they crave, like those found in walnuts, your blood vessels begin to relax again, nitric oxide production rises, and oxygen starts to reach every corner of your body. That improved flow doesn't just create stronger erections, it restores confidence, energy, and a deeper connection with your partner. I've seen couples rediscover tenderness they thought was lost. I've seen men in their 70s tell me, with a quiet grin, that they feel like they're 20 years younger. It's not about chasing youth, it's about reclaiming balance, connection, and vitality. When your heart and your circulation are in harmony, your intimacy naturally follows. So the next time you notice those early warning signs, fatigue, low energy, or fading passion, don't think of them as failures. Think of them as signals that your body is asking for better care, better nourishment, and a little attention to what truly matters. Because when you restore circulation, you restore life. And now that you understand just how deeply blood flow affects every part of your body, from your heart to your most private moments, it's time to learn how to use walnuts the right way to unlock their full potential. Let me show you exactly how. Section 6. How to use walnuts correctly for maximum benefit. Now that you understand how walnuts can restore blood flow and reignite vitality, let's talk about how to use them the right way. Because like any powerful remedy, results come not from doing it once, but from doing it right and doing it consistently. I've seen men try for a week, then stop, saying they didn't feel much change. But when they stick with it for a month or two, the transformation is undeniable. Their energy steadies, their focus sharpens, and their circulation quietly begins to return to life. Here's what I tell my patients. The key is not quantity, it's quality and timing. You don't need a bowl full of walnuts to see results. All it takes is about 4 to 5 walnut halves each morning. That's one small handful, enough to feed your arteries exactly what they need without overwhelming your system. And the timing matters. Walnuts work best when you eat them with something rich in fiber, like oatmeal. The fiber slows digestion, helping your body absorb the healthy fats, antioxidants, and arginine more efficiently. It turns an ordinary breakfast into a heart-healing, blood-boosting ritual. Always add them after your oatmeal has finished cooking. Heat can damage the delicate oils that make walnuts so beneficial. Chop them lightly and sprinkle them on top. As they mix with the warm oats, their natural oils release, coating every spoonful with nutrients that help your arteries relax and repair. If you want to take things one step further, drizzle a teaspoon of extra virgin olive oil over your bowl. The healthy polyphenols in the oil help your body absorb even more of the nutrients from the walnuts. Together, they create a powerful synergy that improves blood flow throughout your entire body. And consistency is everything. When you give your body the same nourishment day after day, it begins to trust the process. Within weeks, many men tell me their hands no longer feel cold in the morning, their breathing feels easier, and their strength during the day has improved. That's your circulation waking up again. It's a quiet, steady renewal you can feel. What makes this so rewarding is that it's simple. You don't need expensive supplements or complicated diets. You just need a habit that tells your body every morning, "I'm here and I'm taking care of you." Because the truth is, small acts of care repeated over time create powerful changes. And once you begin to notice those changes, when your energy rises, when your confidence returns, you'll start to recognize the real reward of this routine. Because what comes next isn't just about health. It's about the signs your body gives you when your circulation finally starts to come back to life. Let's talk about those next. Section 7. Real signs your circulation is improving. One of the most rewarding moments in my work is when a patient comes back after a few weeks of following this routine and says, "Doctor, I think something's happening." It's rarely dramatic at first. It's subtle. A little warmth returning to their fingertips, a stronger pulse in their wrist, or a sudden realization that they've gone the whole day without that afternoon fatigue that used to weigh them down. That's how the body speaks when blood flow begins to return. It whispers before it roars. When your circulation improves, you'll feel it in ways that are both physical and emotional. The first sign is warmth. Many men over 60 notice their hands and feet are always cold, especially in the mornings or when sitting still. That's a sign of sluggish blood flow. After a few weeks of nourishing your arteries, you may suddenly realize that your hands feel warmer, your feet less numb. It's not your imagination, it's your arteries opening up, carrying more oxygen and life to every cell. The next thing you'll notice is energy. Steady, reliable energy that carries you through the day without the crashes. That's because your heart is no longer straining to push against stiff vessels. Blood reaches your muscles more efficiently, feeding them with oxygen and nutrients. You'll breathe easier, walk further, and recover faster. You might even feel a lightness in your chest that you haven't felt in years. Then comes the clarity. When blood flows freely to your brain, something remarkable happens. Your thoughts sharpen, your focus steadies, and even your mood lifts. Many men tell me they feel more alive, more grounded, more themselves again. It's the difference between existing and living with vitality. And yes, one of the most personal signs of all, your morning erections return stronger, firmer, and more consistent. That's your body's way of saying, the pipes are clear again. It's a sign of recovery, of youth returning where it matters most. I've witnessed this transformation in men of all ages, from 60 to 80, and it never loses its power. Because circulation is life. When your blood flows freely, your body heals, your mind brightens, and your confidence comes back. It's not just about preventing disease, it's about reclaiming the joy of feeling strong, capable, and connected again. And if you're starting to notice those first signs of renewal, don't stop. Because what happens next goes beyond your arteries. It touches your mindset, your daily habits, and even how you see yourself. Let's talk about that shift, and why it's the most important part of staying young at heart. Section 8. The mindset shift that keeps you young at heart. What truly amazes me after all these years of working with older men is how the biggest changes don't start in the body, they start in the mind. Once a man begins to feel his circulation improving, once he feels that renewed energy and confidence flowing again, something inside him changes. He begins to believe, perhaps for the first time in years, that his health is not slipping away, it's within his control. That belief is powerful. It's the spark that keeps you young, not just in your heart, but in your spirit. I've seen men who once accepted fatigue and weakness as part of aging suddenly reclaim their drive to move, to connect, to live. They stop seeing healthy habits as chores and start seeing them as gifts. Because when your body begins to respond, when you feel warmth in your hands, clarity in your thoughts, and strength in your intimacy, you start to realize that age doesn't have to mean decline. It can mean wisdom, resilience, and renewal. You're no longer surviving each day, you're living it fully. And that mindset shift doesn't just improve how you feel, it changes how your body performs. Studies show that positive belief in recovery can enhance blood flow, regulate hormones, and even strengthen the immune system. In other words, your thoughts become part of your medicine. When you wake up in the morning and think, I'm doing something good for my body, your heart listens. It beats steadier. It moves blood with more purpose. Every meal, every walk, every small act of care starts working together to keep you alive and strong. One of my patients once told me, "Doctor, I thought this was about food and exercise." But what really changed was how I see myself. I stopped feeling old. That's the real power of this journey. When you start treating your body with kindness, it begins to trust you again. You stop fighting time and start working with it. You don't chase youth, you create longevity. So, as you continue your morning routine, those oats, those walnuts, that drizzle of olive oil, remember, you're doing far more than improving circulation. You're building a new relationship with your body, one built on consistency, care, and belief. And when that mindset takes root, your arteries, your energy, and your confidence will follow. But before we finish, there's one last piece I want to leave you with. The simple, lasting habit that ties all of this together and ensures your progress doesn't fade with time. It's something every man over 60 should know, and it's easier than you think. Let's talk about that next. Section 9. the simple daily habit that keeps your arteries young. If there's one lesson I've learned after decades of caring for men over 60, it's this. Lasting change doesn't come from doing something extreme. It comes from what you do quietly every single day. The truth is, your arteries don't age overnight. They harden slowly, silently, one small choice at a time. And just as those choices can damage them, they can also heal them. That's why building a small, steady habit can be more powerful than any pill or quick fix. I've always told my patients that healing is built on rhythm, not intensity. When you wake up each morning and prepare your oatmeal, when you sprinkle in those walnuts, drizzle that olive oil, or stir in a spoonful of flax seeds, you're sending your body a message of consistency. You're telling it, I care enough to keep showing up. That quiet message repeated over weeks, months, and years is what keeps your arteries young. It's not dramatic, but it's transformative. Many men underestimate what a single healthy habit can do. I remember one patient in his 70s who told me, "Doc, it feels too simple. Can this really make a difference?" I asked him to give it 30 days. He came back smiling, his blood pressure down, his energy up, his confidence restored. "You were right," he said. "It's not about the oatmeal. It's about starting my day with purpose." That's when I knew he understood. He had found the real secret, not just to health, but to longevity. What makes this habit so powerful is that it creates momentum. Once you feel the benefits of better circulation, you naturally begin to make other positive choices. You walk a little more, you sleep a little better, you manage stress more calmly. One small action leads to another, and before you know it, you've built a life that supports your vitality instead of draining it. That's how lasting wellness works. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. And remember, your arteries respond to kindness. When you feed them clean, nourishing foods, when you move your body daily, when you rest deeply and think positively, they reward you with strength, warmth, and energy. You can't control time, but you can control how your body experiences it. So tomorrow morning, when you sit down to breakfast, think of it as your daily ritual of renewal, a quiet investment in your heart, your energy, and your intimacy. Because the moment you make that commitment, your body begins to heal from the inside out. But before we wrap up, there's one final truth I want you to carry with you. The reminder that your health journey isn't just about living longer, it's about living fully. And that message, I promise you, can change everything. Let's finish with that thought. Section 10. Living fully, not just longer. There's something profoundly beautiful about reaching 60 and beyond. It's the stage of life where every heartbeat feels more meaningful, where every sunrise feels like a reminder that you've made it through challenges, lessons, and changes that once seemed impossible. But too often, men come to me afraid, not of dying, but of merely existing. They tell me, "Doctor, I don't want to just live longer. I want to live better." And that's exactly what this journey is about. It's not about counting years, it's about filling those years with energy, clarity, and connection. When your circulation improves, when your body starts to heal itself from within, something deeper awakens. You begin to feel alive in ways you might have forgotten. The fatigue that used to weigh you down starts to lift. Your mornings become brighter, your movements steadier, your laughter easier. You stop worrying about your limits and start appreciating what your body can still do. Because the truth is, vitality isn't measured by how many birthdays you've celebrated. It's measured by how fully you engage with life. I've seen men who thought their best years were behind them rediscover joy. They start taking walks with their partners again, planning trips they once postponed, or picking up old hobbies with newfound excitement. They talk about feeling lighter, not just in body, but in spirit. And that's what real health does. It gives you back the freedom to live on your own terms. But there's another side to it too, the emotional one. When you nourish your body with care, when you create a routine that supports your heart and mind, you also rebuild trust with yourself. You start to believe again that your body is capable, that healing is still possible, and that age doesn't define your potential. That sense of empowerment radiates outward. It strengthens your relationships, your confidence, and your sense of purpose. Living fully after 60 isn't about trying to turn back the clock. It's about using your time wisely. Every healthy choice you make today is an investment in the moments you'll cherish tomorrow. The laughter with loved ones, the quiet peace of a good night's sleep, the warmth of holding someone's hand and feeling your heart steady and strong. That's what real longevity means. So as we approach the end of this journey, I want you to pause and reflect, not on the years you've lost, but on the ones you can still shape. Because in the final moments ahead, I'll share a message that ties everything together, the truth about how one small daily act of care can change the rest of your life. Stay with me, because this ending may just be your new beginning. Conclusion: one simple habit that changes everything. If there's one message I hope you carry with you after watching this, it's that change doesn't have to be complicated. The smallest daily choices, the ones we often overlook, are the ones that quietly transform our lives. When you take a few minutes each morning to care for yourself, when you add that one powerful ingredient to your oatmeal, you're doing something extraordinary. You're telling your body that it still matters. You're telling your heart that you haven't given up on it. And in return, your body listens. It begins to heal. Throughout this journey, we've talked about circulation, energy, intimacy, and vitality. But beneath it all, what we've really been talking about is life. How to live it fully, with strength and gratitude, no matter your age. When your arteries open and blood begins to flow freely again, it's not just your body that comes alive, it's your spirit. You feel that spark again, the quiet confidence that reminds you of who you are and what you're still capable of. You walk taller, breathe easier, and love deeper. That's the gift of good circulation. It touches everything. I've seen this transformation in countless men over 60. They start by wanting better blood flow, more energy, maybe stronger intimacy. But what they discover is something far greater. They find hope. They realize that aging doesn't have to mean slowing down. It can mean growing wiser, stronger, and more intentional. Every bowl of oatmeal with walnuts, every step they take, every night of good rest becomes part of a bigger story. The story of taking back control over their health, one choice at a time. So tomorrow morning, when you stir your oats and sprinkle those chopped walnuts on top, remember this isn't just breakfast. It's an act of renewal. It's your daily promise to yourself, a reminder that your body still responds to care, that your heart still thrives on nourishment, and that your best years aren't behind you. They're waiting ahead, fueled by the small habits you choose to keep. And as you take that first bite, I want you to think about everything that's possible when you give your body what it's been quietly asking for all along: consistency, compassion, and real nourishment. That's how you reclaim your vitality. That's how you stay young at heart. If this message spoke to you, share it with someone you care about. Let them know it's never too late to heal, never too late to start again. Because sometimes, all it takes is one simple habit, one small act of care, to change the rest of your life.